Hey, Brendan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. It is 2025 rookie season. We know that, right? On this channel, I have been grinding 2025 rookie content, but sometimes, man, you just have to take a break, and we love to look forward to the future here on the channel. So my podcast co-host Jason DiRienzo and I, we're going to discuss 8 players today that are going to be draft eligible in 2026 and 2027 to give you a sneak peek of what the future looks like. So if you play Dynasty fantasy football out there and you want a channel, there's not many channels out there talking about 2026 players, 2027 players right now to give you an early look. So hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 17,000 subscribers by the NFL draft. Help me get there. It doesn't cost you a thing to hit that subscribe button. And if you want access to my NFL draft big board subscription service, I already have the 2026 and 2027 players ranked. The 8 players that we're talking about right now, I already got ranks for them. Fast forwarding to your future rookie drafts. All right, so let's get to the show. All right, man, let's get into it. Let's talk about our Devy buys, Jason, for this year. Okay, we got obviously the draft is in about 2 weeks, but shortly thereafter, it is going to be Devy fast and furious. We're going to be fast forwarding to the 2026 class, 2027 class, 2028 class. So we're going to talk about 4 players each of guys that, we think that maybe you should target, or at least one players that we are excited about watching this upcoming season. I guess we could call this our my guys kind of episode.
Yeah, I guess we could
of Devy's, because I know some of them are mine as well. These will be names that maybe everybody's heard. I don't know, maybe not. But I had a hard time picking. I've got so many guys, to be honest.
Me too.
You. So
I had a hard time as well.
Well, I like this guy, I like this guy, and I like this guy. So I'll kick us off right now. And this is a total kind of shot in the dark pick. But the limited film that I saw, I want to talk about Austin Simmons. He is going to be the new quarterback for Ole Miss this year.
Good
all
name.
Right. 6'4", 215-pound southpaw, by the way. He's a lefty throwing the ball out there. Had some spot duty. He did get the QB2 job behind Jackson Dart this past year. He did play baseball, so he's been kind of commingling between both sports at Ole Miss, but he has now dedicated himself to focusing on football. So I watched every highlight that I could possibly watch from this guy. And I'll tell you what, when he played in Georgia, all right, he had a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown drive that ended up, giving a spark that, Ole Miss ended up winning that game, which was really nice to see. But I'll tell you what, man, he was throwing across the hash, the little mobility in the pocket. I mean, listen, we're talking about a guy who has not had a lot of production, but Ole Miss, and how they translate to the NFL, I guess we're going to find out with Jackson Dart this year, right? If the Ole Miss curse is real or not. But the guy's size and the mobility and his arm strength, I'll tell you, he threw some lasers with some velocity. I was impressed. So I'm thinking this guy's free right now. In fact, we just did a Devy mock draft on the Big Board subscriber, all my subscribers, and we did it. I picked this kid, I think, in the 7th round in a startup Devy. So he's basically free. Not many people know about him. So I'm excited to throw out a new name here. Austin Simmons, quarterback for Ole Miss, should be starting from what it sounds like with, Kiffin and his interviews. So it'll be interesting to see, how he turns out this year.
I think that's a great name. We needed a quarterback for this list, so I'm glad you put him in there. That should be a really good one, especially the way that offense has been, producing talent. That's gonna be great. I really tried to find someone different, so I was like, you know what, let me just name one guy I've talked about because I got to get him out there. So I'm gonna go with Michigan State wide receiver Nick Marsh. You have heard me talk about him before, but this is a perfect opportunity to buy now. I'm thinking value, right, of who I want to go out before the name gets even hotter, before the value starts to rise, before they hit the field next season. From what I've seen from Nick Marsh in his freshman year, he had 649 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging almost 16 yards per reception on a team that, when I watched a lot of the All-22 trying to get a good read on Nick Marsh, a lot of blocking assignments and a lot of missed throws on the quarterback's part. That those numbers, he could have been closer to 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I think Nick Marsh, 6'3", 209 pounds, producing the way he is, route running looks great, nice release package, but the contested catches, the contortion ability, and the physical nature of his game, he is going to be a dominant force, and I think he's going to really take it to the next level this upcoming season. So Nick Marsh is definitely go out there and get him now, because I really got a feeling like he's going to pop off this season big time.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay a little bit. He's a name out there.
Did he already go up?
What, in value?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. I think.
I've been seeing him in like the 5th round, so I was like, okay,
no,
this could be good.
I agree with you. In the Devy round, in my Devy mock, yeah, I think he was a late 4th, 5th rounder. So I get it. So
he's moving up. Okay.
Yeah.
He's might pay a little bit more.
Yeah, so might have to pay a little bit more, but I think he could be worth it. And those freshmen flash like that. It's pretty solid. So second guy I want to talk about is Jaden Baugh, running back from Florida. And I've spoken about this guy on this podcast before and on the channel here. He was Florida's leading rusher as a true freshman last year, 673 yards, 7 TDs. He is eligible in 2027, 6'1", 227-pound running back. And I did my first film on YouTube on him when I was watching, I believe it was the spring game last year, and this guy number 13, and the jump cuts for his size, I was like, whoa, I saw it once, I saw it twice, I saw it 3 times. I was like, holy shit, this guy can laterally move for a big guy at 6'1", 227 pounds. So he's got a big frame, he's elusive, he's tough to bring down. He averaged 2.8 yards after contact. That was ranked 7th among running backs in the SEC, and I think that's pretty impressive for a true freshman. The only thing lacking in his game is really his breakaway speed, but he was graded by PFF as the 2nd best offensive player on Florida last year. And as a true freshman, this guy went, I think, in the 4th round in that Devy mock. So the name is out there a little bit. I mean, he was productive as a freshman, but I think he takes a big leap this year. I'm hoping Montreal Johnson, I think, is moving on at this point, and I'm hoping that he just gets fed the rock a lot. So Jaden Baugh, go out and get yourself a share. I've got 3 or 4 shares. I drafted him in a lot of my C2C supplementals.
Yeah, he had a huge season. They have like a 3 or 4 touchdown game, I believe, too.
Against
him and DJ Lagway.
Yeah,
him and DJ Lagway are going to be a lot of fun to watch the next couple of years. I'm going to go over to a guy that I did look at the results of the Devy mock, and I went all the way to the back end of round 10. Mr. Irrelevant in that Devy mock, Deuce Robinson, moving on from USC, going over to Florida State. Now, if we're talking value, you can't get any more value than trying to go out and trade for Deuce Robinson, who is a highly athletic tight end coming out, is going to be prominently probably a wide receiver at FSU. And, FSU's got that stink on them right now from how they played. They can only get better. I mean, literally, they could only get better. That offense can only improve. And Deuce Robinson could absolutely be a part of that. And I was looking at the depth chart. I just don't know where the targets are actually going to go. Deuce Robinson could have a nice opportunity, highly athletic, and has that size with that 6'5", 6'6" frame, that Drake London type of frame. That's the kind of guy I'm looking at, because I was pretty impressed with what I saw from him last season in an offense where he was sharing targets with Jacoby Lane, Makai Lemon, who came on, even Woody Marks getting receptions in the backfield. He was still able to at least show off some of the route running and that deep speed. So Deuce Robinson, I'm definitely buying this offseason.
I like it. I like it a lot. I just, after you had mentioned the draft, I had to pull it up because I had to look. So if these players that we're talking about, Mr. Irrelevant, right? So the next player I want to talk about is Joshua Trader, Jojo Trader, we're going to call him. Jojo Trader. All right. I got him in the Devy mock. I felt like I was stealing at the end of the 6th round. Okay. Now, this guy was a freshman last year, so he's not draft eligible till 2027, 6'1", 180 pounds. All right. Last year, he had, I don't have his stats up here. I should, but I don't. But in any case, this guy had limited production. He had a really good game, I think one of the bowl games, because Estrepo sat out and Arroyo sat out. But I'm just looking at the depth chart from this past year, right? Xavier Restrepo to the NFL, Jacoby George to the NFL, Isaiah Horton transfers out. Okay, he's going to Georgia. Elijah Arroyo to the NFL draft. Sam Brown Jr. also. So those were the top 5 receivers in the Miami wide receiver room last year. So the vacancy of targets. Now you got Carson Beck playing down there. I think this guy explodes. Now I got him in the 6th round of a Devy startup. So I think confidently say that he is a little forgotten of the class last year. You'd be amazed at how many 2028 players were taken over a 2027 player who we saw flash, whose time has arrived to get on the field. So I don't know, man. I'm going to go out and I don't have any shares of this guy, and I'm got to go get some. So I think it's a huge opportunity. I think he is going to be the wide receiver 1 on this team. I mean, it's a lot of vacated opportunity right there.
That's a lot of vacated targets. I think was it Nikar was the other one that they got?
Nikar.
And yeah, so that could be a fun offense, but I think that's a great call with JoJo, man. High upside.
Yeah.
Very athletic, twitchy athlete. I'm going to go with a top recruit that was coming out last year, running back. I think it was a 5-star, and that's Taylor Tatum, a guy that I know you and I both liked coming out as a recruit. He's got that nice, solid frame. Was he 5'10", 205? Probably when it's all said and done, give me closer to 210. Maybe just over that, but I love the movement skills. I love the physicality. I think as a pass catcher, he could do really well. This is the type of running back I think could take over the Oklahoma offense. I think he's that kind of guy. He's versatile. And, we've seen what happens when Oklahoma commits to the run game. That running back typically does really well. Tatum is that kind of talent where he could really explode. He is definitely a 1,000-yard rusher if they allowed him to be. So Taylor Tatum, who did next to nothing last year, was at 266 yards rushing. The fumbles have got to improve. He did have 4 fumbles on the season last year, so ball security is something he needs to improve. But in his first year, as long as I see the improvement this upcoming season, I'm gonna feel really good about it, and you should too. Trying to go out there and get him now before he hits the field.
Yeah, so he was in the Devy mock. Looking at it right here, he was taken in the 5th round.
Fifth round. Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, back end of the 5th round. So like that call. All right, my 4th and final player I want to talk about is Luke Reynolds, tight end from Penn State. All right, we're going to talk about Tyler Warren here very shortly, but this guy cutting up the Warren all 22 film. Last 2 or 3 games, he was getting a little bit of opportunity out there. Now, he had that big game against Minnesota. I don't know if you remembered or not, but he had it was a fake punt, and he was the recipient of the hike and of the.
Oh, I do remember that.
And then he rumbled like 30 yards and got that all important first down to kind of win that game. Incredible. But as I was watching Warren and cutting up his film, this guy was getting a little bit of opportunity, and I made a point to watch what I saw, and I really liked what I saw. 6'4", 241 pounds. He's not going to be draft eligible till 2027. But what I really like as well, Warren was actually quoted saying that he thinks he could be better than himself.
Wow.
So, which I think is really high praise for a guy. And can you really bet against Penn State tight ends? I mean, they do hit in the NFL. And Luke Reynolds actually in this draft. I know. Yeah, here it is right here. He was drafted by Luigi. Luigi Tadone, right?
Oh, I know Luigi.
Luigi took him in the 6th round. So I think Luigi's on to kind of what I'm thinking as well. But who's to say that this guy can't come out and be a Pat Freiermuth type? We've seen these tight ends hit at Penn State. So he's basically, I think, you could get him really cheap out there. Nobody gets excited about acquiring tight ends. I get it. But, the tight end room in Devy overall is really bare, man. I mean, it's like ripe for the taking for somebody to emerge to be the next Brock Bowers or the next Tyler Warren. So Luke Reynolds from Penn State, take a shot with him.
Yeah, I think when we did our initial rankings for recruits, I think he was like a top 3 tight end for both of us when we did our recruit rankings. So he's a big time player. That's a good call. So I'm gonna apologize first off because I was a big proponent of Richard Young, the Alabama running back, and he did absolutely nothing. But I'm not gonna let that deter me. I'm going back to the Alabama well. I'm going to go with Kevin Riley, the running back, who I think he was rated the 9th running back in the same class as Taylor Tatum. This kid was my RB1. And honestly, I don't know if I could deviate from what I saw in the high school film because he looked phenomenal in that film. And I really think once he gets an opportunity in this Alabama offense, he could fix what we have been waiting for with the running back room at Alabama. I think he is that talented. I'm saying that after I gave everybody the Richard Young praise, and who knows? Maybe Richard Young does something with Jam Miller in that backfield next year. But I think Kevin Riley is just too gifted and too talented to not see the field and get some run. And I think we're going to see something special when he does. So now is the time to go get him, because I don't think he's on anybody's radar. And I was looking, I'm not even sure if he got drafted in your mock draft either. So
yeah, I don't think he did.
This is pure value to go grab right now if anybody has him.
Yeah, we're all scarred from Alabama running backs.
We are. And sometimes that could hurt us from the next talented guy.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think Riley could be that.
Smells like an opportunity to me.
It
so
does.
All right, well, there you guys got it. Those are 4 Devy players each that we're pretty excited about. Go, if you don't have shares, or go start at least scouting them for yourself. And great resource out there for you to do that. It's really, really easy. So I hope you enjoyed that.